What's up everybody, David Rodriguez here, and in today's video of Friday's Fire or Flop, we're going to be going over weight vests and ankle weights, which obviously I have them on. But real quickly, I want to preface this, if you want more information, at least on like the more sciencey, super nerdy aspects of this, because science has a great video on this topic itself, I will link that in the description down below, so you should check that out. But when we talk about Friday Fire Flop, of course, we're going to be going over the three criteria that I like to go over, which is A, one, what are we trying to use it for versus kind of what it was originally made for, its purpose, or what it should be used for. B, where does it fall on like a strength continuum as far as like developing strengths. And then number three is, are there any other exercises or maybe implements that we can use that achieve the same results that we're looking to get from ankle weights. And honestly, this video is going to be a little bit different, and you'll see what I mean when I talk about it. So let's get to it. So the first criteria, right? What are we trying to achieve with ankle weights or a weighted vest? We're trying to get better at tricking, right? And so we kind of have, and this is where I think that the line with ankle weights and weighted vests kind of blurs, as opposed to all the other topics that I've covered so far, where I've been fairly black and white about saying this is not good and this is not good. I think for ankle weights and weighted vests that this line begins to blur, because whenever the things that are good about ankle weights and weighted vests, well, this is more for ankle weights, but you can use them to develop the muscles in your legs for when you kick, right? Especially if you do it slow. So if you've never tried before, you can hold your kick just like this and then extend that foot out. And now that extra load that's applied to the end is going to make you have to work a little bit harder in your glute medius and your gluteus medius, right? And in your lower back muscles, as you're trying to prevent yourself from keeling over from the extra weight. And you can do that with all of your kicks. Your front kick, side kick, back kick, crescent kicks, all your different kicks you can do that with. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Shapes Tricking, Shapes Mag Tricking, YouTube. I'll put in the description. Benjamin Talos, he goes over 3 quick tips that you can use to sharpen your kicks. And I think you can use ankle weights with those tips if you slow them down. Now, when we are also looking to try, and what we're trying to do with it is people say like, well, the idea is, well, if I put this weight vest on, or I put these ankle weights on, and then I do a couple tricks, when I take them off, I'm going to all of a sudden be much more stronger, or I'm gonna, like, everything's gonna feel a little bit lighter. Now, I don't think that's a very good idea, because, and regardless of, even if it is true, it is more neurological. It's more in your brain being like, oh, I have to push a little bit harder. And there is a form of training that is like that, but it's much safer, which I will go over in another video, but it's mostly neurological. You're just tricking your body into thinking that it has to push a little bit harder, so your tricks will feel a little bit lighter. But the reason that you don't want to use weighted vests and or ankle weights as far as like jumping around and moving and doing anything crazy like that is because if you've ever used a ball and a string and you just kind of whipped the ball around, you know that the string becomes super tight. Well, think of where your hand and the string meet as a joint, right? And now think of that string as whatever limb, your leg, your arm, your whatever. And then the ball is obviously another joint where the ankle weight or the weight is placed stacked. Now, whenever you're doing anything moving around, you're going to be putting a lot of excess force on that joint or those joints, depending on what it is, especially if you're moving around super fast. And so I know that Bailey Payne swears by ankle weights being the thing that helps him break the cork record or at least, yeah, for breaking the cork record. But I believe that even if he hadn't have used those ankle weights, he would have been just as fine. Because again, the idea is, even if it might develop any kind of power, it's still at too much risk. And even then, I don't think it develops any power. It's more so from the neurological benefits. And there are multiple papers, which I think I have 4 different papers that are also from the Because Science video that sort of demonstrate the same idea. And even one of the papers talked about whenever these athletes used weighted vests and or ankle weights, they did a single vert jump, and their vert jump baseline was 70 centimeters or 70 inches. I can't remember, I don't know which one it is. But when they used the weighted vest and or the ankle weights, their vert only increased like from 70.9 to 72.1. So that's barely a 1.2 increase, whereas those who didn't use it went up to 71.9. So there's only a 0.2 discrepancy between the there's only a 0.2 discrepancy between those who used the weighted vest and those who didn't. So there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of backing for you to use it to develop some power. So when you look at ankle weights and weighted vests as far as the strength and power continuum, they're definitely going to fall more, as I said earlier, on strength, right? Because of the weights, or because of how they're attached to our bodies, we're just going to want to focus on deliberate and slow reps. And now the problem might come that there may not be enough weight at the end of this to actually get a good workout. Now, if you've held anything up for even 5 pounds, if you've ever held a baby for extended amounts of time, especially in your arms or whatever, you feel the baby after a while. They're like, damn, you're heavy, get off of me. So even with slow, deliberate reps, we probably will still get something out of it, even if they're as light as, I think these are maybe only 5 pounds. But if you're wanting to go higher than that, it's going to be hard to find something that's going to have as many, I believe. I haven't really looked up actual ankle weight, weights. I don't know if they go really past 5 pounds or if they go into 10s or 20s or whatever. The thing is that because science goes over this, there's not really a material that's super dense enough that you could, I guess, make ankle weights out of metal, but one, they're not going to be very comfortable, and yeah, that's my big thing. They're just not going to be very comfortable. Now, right where I said, and because in contrast with power, we're trying to be as explosive as possible, and the weight is either typically going to be a free weight, such as a ball, a medicine ball, or a sled, or even if you are dragging a sled behind you, it's not attached actually on top of your body, it's behind you and you're trying to, or a parachute, something like that, or it's your body weight, whether you're doing depth jumps, plyometric jumps, something of that nature. When it comes to power, it's typically you've already built up your base of strength and now you're just showing it and expressing it, right? Power is an expression of strength. So now let's go ahead and see, are there any other exercises, or are there any other things that we can do that can mimic what the ankle weights and or weight vests can do all by themselves, or that can do it better than ankle weights or weight vests? Finally, last criteria, when it comes to, are there anything else that we can do that is better than or equal to weighted vests and or ankle weights? I think on the power side, there's definitely lots of things. depth jumps, broad jumps, explosive med ball throws, plyo boxes, and contrast training, I think are all things that are definitely better and more worth your time than attaching weights to the ends of your limbs and trying to fling yourself around and try to be more powerful for your tricking. I think the risk versus the reward as far as using weights, ankle weights and weighted vests is too high, and it's too much high impact on your joints that it's not going to serve you very well, especially because tricking is already so high impact in general. It's just going to exacerbate any pre-existing issues that you might have, and or you might just be quicker in developing things that shouldn't have been developed in the first place. Now, where it gets a little bit, where I think that, again, where weighted vests and ankle weights are great, is for developing strength. Now, you could just say you just use body weight training. You could also just use like functional range conditioning. I've gone over some of the stuff like developing your end range of motion and actually using some mobility exercises. But as I said before, doing slow, deliberate kicks is a way of increasing your end range of motion, increasing the strength in your end range of motion. Where I think you end up running into problems is that you may not be able to find something heavy enough for your legs. Weighted vests, you will probably always find something heavier, right? Especially if you're doing pull-ups or things like that. But as far as for your limbs and for developing those kicks, I think you're going to run into the problem of finding something that's not heavy enough. And even you see sometimes on YouTube where people like grab other people and they like use them as a weight. Well, the difference is that instead of having all that weight loaded on that one joint, it's going to be a bit more evenly distributed along your body. So maybe if there's a company that makes like super heavy pants or super heavy something that is tight and connected to you like fairly, like almost like a second skin, then maybe. But other than that, again, I think your biggest problem is you may not find something heavy enough. So what have we learned? And actually, you know what? Because I do think that it has ankle weights do have a merit as far as developing some strength. I think I'm going to give it the fire. I think this one's fire. It is a little bit of flop, but you know what? It's also got some fire in it. So we give it that. Now, what are your experiences with ankle weights and or weighted vests? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you think they're pointless? Do you think you should use them? Please let me know. If you have any ideas that you would like me to review for fire or flop as far as tricking or strength training and strength and conditioning in general, also let me know. I'd be happy to do so. Follow me Instagram stomped.tricking. Hope you have a wonderful Friday. I'll see you on the next video. Peace. And don't forget to check out those two videos, Because Science and Benjamin Tows's kicking tips.